He's Black Guy Fawkes, and they call me Brother to the Night. And right now I'm the grunge in your left thigh, trying to be the folk punk in your right. And together we are Fawkes and Friends. Today, the third friend who we're talking to about creativity and social justice is Erik Garlington from Proper.
1, 2, 3, 4. From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, what he got is fucking wrong. His land's not made for you and me. We're chatting built the wall as we tear down bathroom stall. And watch our kids get slaughtered as they run straight through the hall. Let's go!
Ian, before we actually get into things today, I just want to say, man, thank you for introducing me to this band Proper, because they have shot up my charts of things that I want to listen to personally all of the time. How did you find out about them?
I found out about Proper, I think, through a band called Future Teens. They're based out of Boston. And they posted about Proper one day, and I just got into the music. I think that their music, their bio on Instagram says 3 niggas making prog rock. I'm like, this is perfect. Then I just got into them. Then I just fell in love with their music. So I'm very grateful to have them on today. Erik is a fucking phenomenal singer and songwriter, and this interview was a lot of fun.
And before we get into it, what do you have coming up?
Coming up, so May 10th, I will be playing at Frostburg, Maryland at the Deep End with President Bomber, A Day Without Love, and Justin Arena. And this will be a duo show with me and Corey, but you'll be able to see the full band later on this summer. Stay tuned for that. And also after that, I'll be up in Montreal, May 16th at Cafe Big Trouble, kicking off Pre-Pooza with Kali Masi and a boatload of other people, Gam and a Bad Blue Bones, and so many more. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then the day after that, me and Proper will be at Pooza Fest alongside Lord Jane Grace, Strike Anywhere, Against All Authority, Rebuilder, American Television, a whole mess of punk bands. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You are really tempting me to drive all the way up to Montreal for that show. But in the meantime, let's get into our interview with Erik Garlington from Proper. Joining us all the way from New York City is Erik Garlington from Proper.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure having you. I'm excited. We'll be at Pooza together here soon.
It's coming up. Yeah.
I'm all fucking hyped for this. I must say, we just had Ian Cook from Young Lamplight on the other a few days ago.
Right.
I was telling him about like my favorite bands I discovered within the last few years, and Young Lamplight's one, but number one is Proper. Like I fucking love everything y'all have put out, and I was just telling that too. The Great American Novel is my favorite album of 2022. It was so fucking well written, and
Thank you.
It was just the melodies, just your writing, like your listen is very open and honest, like brutally honest.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, what is your writing process like? And also, what do you listen to?
So first, the writing process. So this was the first record where I actually had my bandmates' input because I used to just be like, here's the record, learn some parts, and I was just like, that's not really fun anymore. Like this is the longest band I've been in by far, but the first time around, like, yeah, I feel like we all are on the same page. Like, let's write together. But it was compounded by the fact that lockdown happened. And then our drummer Elijah was like, hey, I'm going to move to Denver. And we're like, okay, when? Like 6 months, 7 months? He's about 5 weeks. So we wrote the record in about 3 weeks, pretty much like a song a day. Well, hopefully we don't have to do this breakneck pace again, but it tends to start with me. I don't really write songs on the fly. So it's usually like we're in writing mode now. So I'll be like, these are all the lyric ideas I've got in my notes app. These are all the riffs I've recorded on my phone over the last year or so. So I usually it's so nerdy. I do like a Google Doc, album name, main themes, the main riff for each song. I'm like, all right, 15 songs for this one, build off of these riffs of these lyrical ideas, give them the names first, and then a placeholder about each song is going to be. So that way, since we're kind of like only do concept records, it flows already before we even start writing. So we don't like back ourselves to a corner. And then just going from there, be like, all right, let's go from here. And then I have this idea, and then Elijah's kind of like, what if we did this and this? So then we get all the instrumentals down, and then I just sit down and write all the lyrics at the end. So that way we know how we want the record to flow musically before anything. That way the sequencing, just sequencing is so important to me. I just think that so many albums that can be make or break by how you sequence the record. So that's the big part. And then the lyrics are just like, I had these little ideas throughout the year, and they're like, all right, let's pick that one, and this is going to turn into Red, White, and Blue. Or this lyrical idea for Gene came up from this melody. I wanted to do like a shoulda, woulda, coulda thing in that intro. Let's turn it into a song, if that makes sense. It's a very roundabout way that we're still kind of like working on, but a lot of like treating it like television, and a lot of storyboarding, and a lot of pre-production kind of is the idea.
I can see that intentionality. Like Ian turned me on to you guys recently, and then I binged stuff. And this might be a weird comparison, but I'm not a musician, so I don't have the language to make comparisons. But in a weird way, it reminded me of Queen, because the way you work together, so many disparate elements together into a cohesive whole. Like there's this part of the song, and then suddenly it just changes completely, and I'm like, mind blown. I was
Thank you.
Just kind of curious, who are some of your influences for what you guys do?
So yeah, listening, that was the second question. So the funny thing about this band is none of us have the same background at all. So the only like thing that we can all, or me, that we like agree on is me and Elijah came up on At the Drive-In. And then besides that, there's nothing. Elijah's from El Paso, so a lot of At the Drive-In, a lot of bars, just a lot of El Paso bands, Sparta, a lot of mathy stuff. He really like Seosin. And then for me, it was like real hard prog stuff like Protest the Hero. Coded Cambria is still my favorite band of all time. But a lot of stuff where it's like, let's just do a song that's in 7/8 to 5/4 to 8/12 for no reason. And then it still makes sense. And then Tosh being the oldest of us, which is like the Ramones, a lot of like OG kind of like stuff from the 80s. And then our commonality is the Killers. She really likes the Killers. And then our newest musician, John, is like straight like twinkly emo. A lot of like the OG stuff, like, Rites of Spring, Poison the Well, just like OG emo stuff, like first, second wave. I try not to have any song sound like the next song on purpose. And they kind of rein me in on that, because sometimes it'll get too weird. Like I really used to worship Dance Gavin Dance. But I realized I can't play like Will Swan, who is a guitar god. I just can't play like that, still be able to sing. So like they kind of reined me in to where like, I'm like, these are the influences. Like what if the Killers wrote a My Chemical Romance song and we melt them? So I usually like have like the prompts that I give them, and then they're like, okay, this part might be too much, but I see what you're trying to do. So the musical taste is all over the place. And then they're like, I really, being from the South, grew up with R&B and hip hop. So like Kanye, Outkast, like that's where the lyricism comes from, is trying to be a rapper, but not being brave enough to rap. So just being like, well, at least I could like have some bars in these emo prog songs. Then was my middle ground.
I'm really all for the head, and I'm going to bring that way you talk about when it comes to concept record. I feel like a lot of bands aren't doing that anymore, and I pretty just love the idea. That's why I try to bring, like you talk about your writing process. That's why I try to bring like to my stuff, where I'll make sure everything, like you said, sequencing is important. Everything, I want to make sure everything just flows perfectly. Everything just comes very cohesive at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think there like a lot of people, like I have friends where they just like they write a song like, and then like 2 months later they write a song, and then like after a couple of years they'll have an album. But I'm very much like, it's time. I don't think I could have like the same theme of if it's a song that's already 2 years old about something else. So that's like more so about, I just love concept records. So just trying to stick with that theme of just like all of these have to somehow relate to each other, but not instrumentally, but but they still have to somehow flow.
Well, that's what makes it an album and not a collection of songs.
Exactly.
And we'll come back to Coheed later, but what are your favorite concept records?
Oh God, David. I mean, it's got to be the Coheed records, but I'm trying to think of one that's not Coheed. Probably Protest the Hero. They've got, I think almost all of those are concept records, but the one that really like did it for me was probably Fortress, their second record. It's like a general loose concept about like goddess worship, and about like that level of, I don't know, the big line of that song is a goddess gave birth to your God. And I was like, that's hard. That's so cool. And like, so it's not like a general like story, but it's all these themes of like idolatry and like matriarchy and like society. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, cause the one before that is a just straight through narrative story, but having like a loose concept record, I was like, oh, that's allowed. Like, it doesn't have to, I don't have to make character names. I can like, you could tell that all of these are about the same general topics, but they don't have to be characters like Coheed does, like Protest did on the first record. So probably, if not the Coheed records, that Fortress by Protest the Hero is a big one.
I know there's one that you and I share in common too. That's Aaron West.
Oh yeah. Could go on for days. I've to be doing it for what, 20 years by now in general. And his newest record still is like as punchy and as like lyrically dense as your first record. Like it's insane. Like there's no fall off with that man. It's amazing to see.
I always find fun just seeing people just bring the characters to life. Like you see him deal with Aaron West, and you see or deal with Ziggy Stardust. Like it's always it's always fun just seeing that transformation from the record like live. So
yeah, no, it's beautiful. I remember when I was a kid, Lupe Fiasco was a Food and Liquor, and I was just like, I don't know if I've heard a rap concept record before. And as well, there was another breakthrough moment where I was like, this is allowed. And like very early, I'd be like, yeah, I guess songwriting is what you want to make it. You don't have to, like, there are rules and, you know, basic plot points and elements to follow, but you really can like do whatever you want as long as you really like think it out. And like that record was a big one for me, being like, oh, that's such a cool thing to do. I've never seen that before.
I also want to talk about one aspect of the new EP that he just put out, because one of my favorite tracks off there, I guess single was Potential.
Okay.
And that song relates a lot to me, mostly from the chorus of you speaking about not knowing if where the business ends and where the the banter ends. Because I think I've experienced that like more so when I got older. Now that I'm meeting like all these different artists, like I'm trying to figure out are we cool or are we just so do you feel do you think that's where that line came from, or
you tour with someone, you know, you'd be on the road with them for like 5 weeks, and then like next time you come to town, you might not even go to the show, and it's like, are we friends or are we coworkers? Like, did we just do a gig together? Or do you actually like, you know, like obviously there are some people like, yo, I'm in your city, let's get drinks. But then there are some bands where it's like you're in that spot where you're like, can I ask for a guest list spot? Like, I don't know, you know, like what should I pay for a ticket? Like, which as you rise more in the industry, like I'm noticing is more common. There's sometimes when you can tell you don't like each other, that's fine. But like the ones where you're just like, were you just stressed because we did a run in lockdown or, you know, post-COVID and like shit's weird, or like, did you not like our set? Like, and you just can't tell. But like, that's as you make more of those connections, you just have to like, just like do it anyway. Just like, you know, put yourself out there. But it's a lot of the, are we friends or are we coworkers thought, and you're just never sure.
This is something Ian questions a lot for himself.
Yeah, that's always been like the big thing for me, because I'm meeting all these people and we some of us we do talk every day, then but I still kind of in back of my mind like saying, is this core, or are we just like trying to get to the next level, or just trying to
or also being used for clout.
Yeah, but that's all right. We're gonna go there, man.
No, let's do it.
I feel like, and I was just on here your panels. I feel like as Black artists, like to be a part of like these lines where they're predominantly white, it makes you wonder: are we here because of our talent, or are we here for diversity clout?
Yeah. And so the thing I've noticed, like when we do like a festival or like a big like run or something, if there's like a playlist involved, if they're here because they like us, they'll put a deep cut on the playlist. But if they're here because we're diversity, it's always our top song on Spotify. It's like, that's 2 projects ago. I don't think you actually like us. And it's usually been pretty true. Like, I'll see how they operate once we get there. I'm like, yeah, we're definitely the diversity hire. And like, that's fine. Like, we're a band that asks for how much we think we deserve. So even if we're getting used for clout, we're at least getting paid well to do it. Is like the cross section we're at now. Like, we're not going to get used for clout and then you pay us peanuts. So it's a relationship that just has to work that way sometimes.
Maybe that should be the episode title. Fawk, you pay me.
I mean, but really though.
No, I think about this option because I'm trying to form an actual like genuine connection with people who I play with. Just try to make that friendship, and there have been times when I feel like I was used just for that diversity clout, and yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that I get paid. I'm happy that I have some money coming in, but at the same time,
Mhm.
I still feel like weird and used, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I experienced with that last year. Like, I'm not gonna name any names, but it definitely was just like by the end of it, I was just like, I don't know if I ever want to do something like this again. And like, then we had the break and then we did the Coheed cruise after. And I was like, oh, this is how it's supposed to feel. Like, this was the family feeling that I missed out on this last thing. So I know what you mean.
Did you
That-
say
that's not-
Coheed Cruise?
Yes.
So you played on a boat?
Yeah. Yeah. Last October. It was 5 days. We did from Miami to Dominican Republic and back, an hour-long set, like almost every day, like a 16-story cruise.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. I did my very first cruise, like not as a performer, but just as somebody who went on one, on something called the Joko cruise, which is Jonathan Colton's cruise. I was hired to work it. It was cool watching people like play music on a ship in the middle of nowhere. Were there any like technical or logistical things that came up that surprised you with that?
Just the boat rocking. I
Yeah.
I have a, what do they call it? Like, boats make you sick.
Motion sickness.
Motion sickness. Yeah.
yeah.
God, my brain. Yeah. Motion sickness pretty bad. So like there was, like I said, we had to play an hour-long set and they wanted it to be like pretty different every day. So not just the same songs every day. And when we docked in Dominican Republic, I was like, okay, finally, we're good. But we had the slot where we started playing as the boat was leaving. So the water was so choppy. Like, people thought I was like swaying around on purpose and I was just trying not to fall over. So that was the only thing that was terribly hard.
Did you get the land sickness when you got back? Because that hit me hard. Like the ground
it's
felt
fine.
wobbly. Oh no, yeah. Once it took me a week to adjust to dry land again.
Surprisingly, I was fine. But it was also like we got back and then me and my girlfriend had to get straight to the airport. So I was right back being in the air, being tossed around turbulence. So, but no, I was fine.
How was the whole cruise? And also, did you check me, Claudio, and everybody?
It was amazing. Let's see. I had met them. We were like Twitter mutuals for a bit before I got rid of Twitter. And then for my 31st or 32nd birthday, we went to New Orleans to see them play. So I'd met Travis, the lead guitarist there. Like, then they did a live session at a record store in New York. And I was just like, hello again. And then we got that offer a few months later. And I was just like, oh, as one would be. But that was great. It was like us, Mannequin Pussy, Pink Shift, Kawanashi, the Animals as Leaders, obviously Coheed, Anthony Green, just a lot of great bands. So it was just like, it's a giant 16-story boat. Like, so we just go watch a set, hang out, go watch another set, go outside and be like, there was like an artist party the first or second night. So like, it was just like, feels how music's supposed to be. Like, we're all equals. We're all here to do this job and we're hanging out with each other. We're like, it didn't feel like networking. It felt just like hanging with friends. Coheed was on the very top floor and they were obviously working. They had like indoor shows that were being live recorded to the whole boat. And then they played outside on the deck. So I got to meet them briefly. Like, you don't want to like crowd the headliner's time, but like, I didn't cry. So that's good, but I was just, because again, they're my idols. So like, just being like, I can't believe I'm talking to you. But I'm grateful to be here. I'm not going to take it too much of your time. And then I remember Claudio came down in a mask to come watch Military Gun set. And we were just sitting there, just like heading on hard to Military Gun. And I was like, this life isn't real. This is so crazy. And then I almost spilled my beer all over him, which I hope he didn't notice. But yeah, it was just a cool, surreal moment of like, this is why I'm doing this. Like, it was after we'd done a summer of grinding and just, we're not a grinding band. We're a remote band. Elijah's in Seattle, John's in Toronto, Tosh has a 2-year-old child. Like, we're a remote part-time band. And that was the reminder of like, maybe we should keep this up.
That's fucking beautiful. Second off, that's how I felt when I met Frank last year, Frank Turner. Just the fact that, well, when I first met him, like, I had the same experience you did. Was like, I can't believe this is fucking happening. This is what I worked towards. And same way that you said that you really felt like you found that community. That's how I felt when I went to most just be around them.
I love that.
Him, Bad Cop, Chuck Reagan, like all that. I just felt more at home. And that's not even something I look towards in music, honestly. Just that good community of people.
I know. His lyricism is insane. He's a juggernaut. It's insane. Actually, cool little Easter egg. So he used to be called Bray White. and we posted it. I think one of my friends shared it with him, and he was one of the first like big co-signs we got where he was like, y'all should listen to this record on Twitter. Very, very first album with under a different band name. So Frank has always been for the people, like a true like working, like we want to be like a working class band, and it's because of people like Frank Turner.
Now, something you said that I'm kind of curious about, again, as an outsider. So you guys are a remote band. How do you guys put stuff together? Like, how does that happen?
So stressfully. So pretty much when we have a tour, like, so next thing we have coming up is Bad Rabbits on May 31st. So pretty much everyone has to get here a couple days before so we can actually practice. And then it'll be like, all right, we have to do our next 3 promo shoots for the next 2 years. So it's a full day of photo shoots. So, hey, let's do our next 2 videos while we're here. So like 3 whole days of shooting a video. So pretty much in just short spurts. So this time around, for our next record, we want to actually write together. So we're going to try and get a budget to actually like go to a cabin somewhere upstate. But it's very much like, this is where next time we're all in the same room. We have to do these 10 things in those 2 days. Well, let's do it. So very stressful. The last summer, in the middle of a tour, we did the middle management video. We did all of our promo pictures that you've been seeing over the last few months. We did a Least of All session where we did like a medley and we had to do it 18 times in a row. So like just all those things in about 48 hours is how we normally operate.
And do you guys record remotely then too?
No. So for stuff like that, Elijah, it's in the budget to fly them out. I don't know if we were going to record with next, but last time was the EP with Brian D'Amelio, who did Ortiz's first record. So it was like same thing. It was before our Canadian tour. I was like, Elijah, can you get here 5 days early so we can record and practice? And we just had to punch it all out.
You have recorded with Ortiz on a Great American Novel, right?
Yeah. That was down at his place in Virginia. I don't know if he's down there anymore, but yeah.
What was that process like working with him?
It was really gratifying, but still really scary because obviously Bartiz is like Bartiz. We're like 3 punk kids who like, we'd never been in a studio before this band, you know, like we'd never been in a band this long, all of us in our different bands. So it felt like, especially it was when we signed Father-Daughter. So it was like our first like pretty big-ish medium-sized record deal. And like, so a lot of pressure. We only had like 7 days. So we had to really move. Yeah, it was scary, but like Bartiz, like I've known him for like 8 or so years by now. So he was just like, he gets it, you know? So he's like, oh, what if we did this here? And I'm like, you read my mind. Or like Elijah. And Elijah's like, I already know. Like, yeah, like we clicked so well that it was really comfortable. We just crashed at his house, watching movies every night after we were done, talking about music and stuff. I don't think his record was out yet. So like he was just like, yeah, I'm doing this next, and we just felt the excitement for each other. So it was a very comforting time for me, especially as a person who gets really anxious in the studio. I felt so at home.
Yeah, like all of mine have been primarily just been in the basement of my producer's house that we would
Exactly.
recording. So,
Yeah, that's usually what I have done. Same thing. And it's like, once you're in that studio where it's like, wow, that's like a $4,000 guitar. And there were 10 of them on the wall, you know? Like, yeah, it's really nerve wracking.
So are you guys ready for next record right now or what's going on?
Not right now. We just got the A24 singles in about 10 days. So just going to do that, see where we land. And we're going to start pitching to labels. Because again, we want to really write together. So we need a bigger budget this time to get into like a studio space, like a cabin upstate that has like equipment and stuff. So right now I'm just doing that. We're literally about to announce Smiley Music Festival in 23 minutes. So just kind of like riding it out, like a pretty slow year. And then the same thing as always, pitching for more bigger supporting stuff, seeing where we land. We've got one that we're hopefully going to be announcing soon that I can't say yet, but just taking it easy this year.
Who has been like your favorite act besides Cooley? Who have been your favorite acts to open up for? Because I'm pretty sure you guys did Hold Steady, right?
Hold Steady. Yeah, that was just a one-off. But for my favorites, I mean, the obvious answer, Wonder Years. I mean, all of them are so sweet. I mean, obviously it's been the same lineup since the beginning. Like clearly they're good dudes. But yeah, everyone was so nice. That was our second tour back out of like lockdown COVID years. So it was us, Wonder Years, Pronoun, and Future Teens. And Future Teens was one of our first tours ever. So just a bunch of homies. It was a good like maybe a week, 10 days, nothing crazy. Just be like playing the songs off LP3 because it wasn't out yet. I think we had just dropped our first single, Red, White, and Blue. So it's a good like practice run to get back out there. Loves camp. Same thing. Amazing people. So sweet. There are like 8 of them. They brought their kids all the way from the UK. It was another easy, like, I think it was 8 shows in 10 days. Just from like Cincinnati back here, I think, up to Toronto. So our first like big show in Toronto, which was top good for John. Like, I was like, man, this is insane. And just bands like that, where they're like on the same page about like, you know, this is going to be a fun time. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. We got you. So those were the 2 ones that stick out immediately. It's like, this is great.
I think how I found out about you was through Future Teens. So I never
Oh.
discovered them like during the lockdown. I think they mentioned you at some point.
I think
Or
so.
I think this
We're sang
but-
on each other's songs. So definitely something like that.
again, just their lyricism is so fucking good.
It's insane. And now Dan and Amy both have their own side prop. Well, I guess Dan's had Lake Sick Data for a minute. But yeah, they're the sweetest people. I think, yeah, our first or second tour ever, it was like a weekend or maybe a week with Future Teens. And they're just such a good band. Like every album they top themselves, and it's just like, all right, how are you going to do it this time? All right, you did it. Of course you did. Like, they're so nice. They're so great.
So you talk about touring, and have there been any places that you visited that just kind of like resonated with you as an artist, like a place that you're just like, oh my God, this is a great place to play?
Oh, yeah. So I'm from the South, and we get skipped over a lot for tours. So every time we tour down there, I'm like, this is the way. New Orleans specifically, Jacksonville, Florida, where my dad is from, it has a beautiful scene now. When I was coming up, we used to go down there every weekend, and I couldn't find music like that. Like, obviously, home is where, being from like Jacksonville, Gainesville area. Where did we play? Birmingham, Alabama was beautiful. Just southern states getting their due finally. But besides that, probably Toronto was amazing. I had no idea what to expect from, what did we do with most camp? Cleveland? I want to say Cleveland. I'm sorry, Cleveland or Michiganders if I'm getting it wrong. Cleveland or Cincinnati, one of the two. And I was like, oh, we played a bowling alley. And I was like, this is going crazy. So like those places that you don't expect, because like I'm in New York, so I'm allowed to say this. New York and Los Angeles get everything. Fuck off. Like, let's go to some other places. Kids are so hungry for music. We played Phoenix, Arizona, and it was insane. Like places where bands would just, for whatever reasons, don't go as much. There's beautiful things happening down there.
I was talking to a friend of mine from Arizona. We were talking about some of the upcoming Frank gigs, and she's like, I'm envious of you East Coast people who get to go to like all these shows. And I'm like, well, I'm a fuck ass, and that's why I go to all these shows, because I live in the middle of nowhere. So like Pittsburgh's an hour away, New York's like 6 hours away, Boston's like 9 hours away, DC's like 4 hours away. It's like,
Yeah.
I just
Jesus.
I just do it because I have nothing better to do with my life, and
For the love of the game.
yeah, just the love of the game.
What are your favorite venues in Brooklyn?
Oh, favorite venues in Brooklyn. I think Trans Pecos. Well, I don't know if it's Trans Pecos or Trans Pecos. Pecos. I'm going to say Pecos. Trans Pecos, because it's where we like first started playing and we like really like grinded it out as a band. But we played the big room in Elsewhere last year for the first time. So it's like a I don't know, 1,200, 1,300 cap room with Los Camps. And it was like the homecoming show. And it was another moment of like, yeah, I want to do this. We haven't really played, so no one ever plays in the city as much. So this one time we played this little art collective, and it was just like a little DIY space on like a 3rd floor, and people just like hanging out. And that was really cool. So there's like, it depends on the moment. Like sometimes I'm down with the 40 cap room that's packed out. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I want to play this 3,000 cap space. But like those two extremes usually are the first thing that come to my mind.
I think the only thing I played at New York was the Knitting Factory in Brooklyn.
R.I.P. man, that was a good spot.
I played her back in March of 2022, like right before it closed
Right
down.
before. Yeah, because it was that summer, right? It shut down.
Yeah, I remember. Like, I met him like later on that summer. Memphis Goblins came into my town. I met their singer. I brought it up to him. He went, "Oh, fuck!" Just didn't realize that. Oh, but
Yeah.
I won't play New York more. But I hate New York traffic. So
That's
fucking
valid.
much.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't have a car for that reason. I understand.
it's not New York traffic that's bad. It's traffic getting into New York, I think. Like,
Yeah,
I grew up out that way, and I had been out here for so long that when I was invited to my buddy's wedding to be in it, I was like, oh no, this is great. I'll leave it this time. I'll miss all that rush hour stuff. And then it turned out the wedding was in Long Island, so I missed rush hour going in. But then I hit rush hour on the LIE, and I missed the entire rehearsal. And he's panicking, and I'm like, dude, I'm in my 40s. I've been in enough of these. Who do I stand in front of? Who do I stand behind? I
Sure.
got this. We're good. I forgot all about how rush hour traffic worked from being out here in the sticks for so damn long.
You see, my story is I didn't have a car for a little bit. Then I got my car like weeks before I went on tour, so I had to go from not having a car down to driving to fucking New York, and had about 3 anxiety attacks on the fucking road because I didn't want to get hit. Then I get there, I just start breaking down crying in the green room. I took a shot. I'm like, all right, I'm ready. And my friend came to come see the show, and he looked at me and said, "Traffic wasn't that bad." I went, "Oh fuck you."
Liar.
But my guess is your friend didn't spend much time driving around Cumberland, Maryland, where there's literally nothing happening.
Hey, no, they spent a lot of time in Cumberland, but but they also live in, I think, Jersey, or they used to live in Jersey. And they say traffic wasn't that bad. I'm like, fuck you, get out. But any words for some of the games?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Guys, motherfucker.
Love it already.
We'll be asking you some quick fire questions. First one I have for you: what is your Mount Rushmore of Coheed albums?
Don't do that. Okay, I'm supposed to respond quickly. So Mount Rushmore implies I pick 4 of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
In no particular order, best to
In
worst, worst to best.
No particular order.
Okay, I mean they're all best. I'm keeping secrets, obviously. I think a curveball, Good Apollo Part 2. I know people usually go with Good Apollo 1, which is like has Welcome Home and Suffering on it. But Vaxis 2, the latest record. And then probably it's the first one I ever heard, Second Stage Turbine Blade. That was I listened to them in order and I was like, wow. So yeah, so those are the 4.
All right.
Oh, that's a hard question.
I want the Mount Rushmore of acts you want to see this year at Pooza when you're not playing.
I mean, obviously, Ian. I don't think I've ever seen you play.
No. Well, what day you guys get there? 17th, right?
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure because I'm filling in for another band and we play on 2 different days. So I'm pretty sure they play the first day and then I play the second day. But I think we're gonna get there with enough time. We just like hanging out. So definitely that. God, who else is playing? Is Make War playing? I want to say they're playing again this year.
Yeah, they're playing.
Okay. Cause we're on like 4 festivals this year, so I don't remember which lineup is which. So I have no idea. And then I don't know. I keep hearing about St. Catherine's Cathedral, and I've never been there. So I just kind of want to pop in there one day and just see what's happening.
I know. I think Lord and Grace's is playing there. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Because Mikey Erg is filling in on drums. I haven't seen him in a minute. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's my 4.
I need to know New York pizza or Chicago pizza.
Chicago. Look, I'm dating a New Yorker. She can hear me say this. New York pizza sucks. Chicago pizza every time. So I'm dating a New Yorker. Natasha, the bassist, is married to a New Yorker. And every time we go to Chicago, I make us stop at Illuminati's and get some Chicago pizza. And I make sure that my girlfriend Mila and Tasha's husband Matt know that we're there. And it's worth it. I said this. I mean it with my whole chest. Chicago, and it's not even close.
That's so bold.
Who is on your bucket list tour with next?
Bucket list. Definitely like OG stuff for me. Say Anything, Manchester Orchestra, anything Anthony Green. And then like real wild bucket list stuff, because those 3 are all things that like are going to happen eventually. I'm confident enough to say. But like some real wild stuff, Killers. Look, Brendan Flowers, you have no idea who I am, but we could be really good friends if you're listening to this. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if we're your cup of tea. I know you're a Mormon. I don't know if you like the N-word, but like, I have bars. Listen to me. I don't know who your manager is. Look, Fall Out Boy, you're on this list too. Just put me on. Really though, we're sweet people besides the vulgarity. That's all.
What about some less well-known acts that you'd like to take out with you and have support you guys?
Oh my God. I just heard of this band, this Italian band that our European agent just put us on to. Snow Pelter? Next time we tour in Europe, we want to bring them out with us. Pretty sure it's called Snow Pelter. So good. But as far as America goes, I want to tour with a rapper, man. One of our first tours was Properos with this rapper named Alfred. And I want to do that again. Just on some real, just disrespectful, grimy rap shit. Just the whole vibe. I don't know who that person is yet, but I want to do that again.
Now I must know. What's your favorite Killers record?
It's probably not Bust just because that was another like, wow, this is a loud moment for me. But I love the run of that Sam's Town and then the B-sides that they did. Sawdust. I was so into that. I know it's not like a true record per se, but what a three-peat, man. That run was amazing for me.
I've always died. I'll die the hell with Sam's Town. That's such
Yeah.
a incredible record.
Yeah.
And
It's no skips.
And going back a little bit, Andy Hall's a fucking genius, and I
Oh.
love Manchester Orchestra
Oh,
with fiery passion.
no skips. Every single record. What are they on? 7 albums by now, at least. And they're all dynamic. And like, I know they're doing something about 10 years. What was that record? Cope. And like, I can't believe that was already a decade ago because I was in Kansas City when Simple Math came out. So like, I actually heard them on the radio because we were their market, and just being like, man, I didn't think I'd ever hear a Manchester Orchestra song on the radio. And then seeing them keep getting like movie placements and TV, and it's just like, good for them. Like, so good. So good.
I played him Minneapolis at First Ave or it's like two venues in one. But I think the one venue that we were playing at a smaller venue inside. The
Mhm.
bigger room was Manchester, like the same night. So after I finished playing, we just ran to the bigger room, just fucking
As you
just
should. You
one
made the correct choice.
I feel like we're not staying on brand if I don't ask you your Mount Rushmore of regional fast food to eat while on tour.
I mean, again, I'm Southern boy, so it's all just gonna be chicken spots. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, so obviously Zaxby's at the top.
Yes!
So Zaxby's reigns supreme. Jack in the Box, I used to be pretty into, but let's see. So Jack in the Box, Zaxby's. Oh my god, what's that one where it's different names depending on the region you're in? Carl's Jr. I think down south it's called
Oh, yeah,
Hardee's.
Big Boy Carl's Jr., Hardee's. Are they
Yeah,
all the
so
same
for me
thing?
it was called Hardee's. Yeah, and then honestly, just like some random gas station always has the best food, and especially Mississippi, Louisiana stretch. Whew, you're gonna find some of the best food of your life. Just any random gas station between Baton Rouge and Columbus, Mississippi.
Fair.
I'll die with old Bucky's. It's still my favorite place to go to while I'm on the
The
road.
gas station?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good too. Their Sheets is good. Yeah, gas station food is really. I'm with it right now.
Sheets or Wawa.
Oh, Sheets. I know.
This-
Again, it's a regional thing. I hadn't heard of Wawa until I moved to New York, and Tosh swears by Wawa, and it's good. It is good, but Sheets, come on.
I think Ian's campaigning for Sheets to sponsor this podcast for as much as we talk about Sheets.
I mean, Brian disrespected it when we have Deal Without Love on there talking about Wawa and Dunkin', but no, I'm all
Yeah.
about Sheets and Royal Farms. Like those
Yeah.
are really just
They're
Royal
reliable,
Farms
man.
fried chicken.
They're good. They're reliable. They're affordable. That's all you need.
And who are your musical guilty pleasures, if you have it?
God, I don't know. So I was definitely that like prog math nerd. Like I wear my guitar really high. That type of prog metal kid. So like I definitely didn't grow up listening to too much pop. So my girlfriend's into Drake a little bit. So there's a couple songs out there, like I would start up being like, turn this shit off, and now I'm just like, I know every word. But
Yeah.
so like definitely there's a couple Drake songs, a couple Beyonce songs, a couple pop songs here and there.
I take it all back, Ian. I mean, you and I have always been fuck Drake from Jump Street, but I do kind of like Hotline Bling.
Yeah. Yeah. Every few years, he puts out a song. I'm like, okay, this is your one for this fiscal quarter.
I just got fired from the podcast.
So my thing on Drake is, as a Degrassi kid, as a kid who grew up watching Degrassi, I
Okay.
can't take that nigga seriously at all. Like,
Of course not.
I
Of course not. It's not
seriously,
the baby shit.
I can't take anybody seriously who dates people who are not old enough to vote yet.
Is that real? This is news to me. This is how out of the loop I am. I didn't know that.
I heard nothing about that, but him towards Millie Bobby Brown, I have questions about that. I have some feelings about that.
He's sus.
I did
But-
see that.
There's
Sus.
some sus stuff, but all right, one Mount Rushmore, then that'll be it. But Mount Rushmore, hip hop records, like your top 4.
Come on, y'all. So even though I'm in like a proggy, emo-y, whatever band, I predominantly listen to rap and hip hop. So this is an even harder question. I mean, Kanye is obviously the greatest of all time, despite the insanity. But I'm not going to just pick 4 of his records. So we'll say obviously My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, probably Telephone by No Name, Acid Rap by Chance the Rapper. There's just so much, like, we're in a renaissance of hip hop and R&B right now. It's not fair to ask me these questions. Lauryn Hill, Miseducation. I know she only raps on a few songs, but if not that, then probably The Carnival by Wyclef Jean.
I'm up for that list. I'll switch out. I'll switch out Dark Fantasy Wolf, probably late registration. But
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to pick one Kanye record.
it's hard to face those three Kanye things. Like I want to say I love Kanye, but new Kanye, this Kanye now is real fucking hard to do.
Yeah, it's a sad time that we're living in.
So I got to switch him out with Kendrick, which I'm okay with because I'm a huge Kendrick stan anyway.
Yeah, I definitely need to get more into Kendrick. What's the last record? Big Steppers? I didn't get listed as much as I should have. I know that was already like a year or two ago, so it's probably working on the next one. When it comes to TDE, I'm an Isaiah Rashad fan. He's my favorite out of all the TDE people. So I think I was just listening to The House is Burning over and over and over again by the time Campus Class record came out.
He's like one of the only, like, I guess, current rappers I listen. I love Chance. I love Donald Glover. I love everything he does. But I've been getting into a lot of like Tribe recently.
Nice.
I love Fife and
Coming back to my era now.
Yeah.
Is it because you've been hanging out with an old man all the time? Is that why? Is it? That's.
It's not because I just realized I need more black friends. I need to feel a lot more blacker than listening.
And it's just good to study like the OGs. Like it's good to see how we got here, you know? Like I think a lot of people, especially now we're in the streaming era, there's not as much like, oh, I like this song. Let me go back and listen to this record. And then let me see who inspired this record. And then you kind of like go through the thing like people used to do. So like, it's good to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to every Five Dog album. Why not?
And now that De La's back on streaming, I hope we see more of that too. Then, because I mean, Prince Paul sample game was just, top notch.
Yeah,
my favorite thing now is just seeing Tribe's now being dug into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and alongside Mary J. Blige, and now I see some white people just losing their minds over that. As always, whenever we get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
I saw that too. Yeah.
Erik, it was so good to have you on this podcast today, and
thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing more of Proper in the future.
Thank you.
And I know, I'm with Catbite and Pooza, but we'll have to meet together so we can get some poutine.
Yeah, I'm down. We're chilling. Yeah, I think we're gonna be the whole weekend. So look, we're gonna kick it. We're gonna put in some work.
Now, aside from Pooza, like what else do you guys have coming up that you can talk about?
I saw the TV Glow. A24 comes out May 3rd. Soundtrack with us. Gunshot noise. Bartiz. I can't do gunshot noise. Sorry, I'm trying to sound. There you go. Yeah, Bartiz Strange on it. Flourish. A lot of great artists. We're about to obviously do Pooza right after that, and then we've got Post Fest. We're really excited about end of July, and then we've got Mile of Music a week after that, August in Wisconsin, and that's all that I can talk about on the record. That's what we've got coming up that I'm allowed to say.
Well, that's something I've got to bring up that we can talk about. You guys feel on that E24 soundtrack. How did that happen? Because they're the biggest, I feel like biggest studio right now.
$1 billion company, maybe. Sorry. Sorry. I'm really excited. How did it happen? What's the question?
Yeah.
Bridget Lundy Payne, one of the stars. I think the director, Jane, she wanted. So Jane's first movie worked with Alex G. And there's still some Alex G work on this one too, I think. But I think this time Jane was like, what if we did like a full on like movie soundtrack like you used to see like the, Dashboard Confessional and Spider-Man. And Bridget was like, yeah, for sure. And I think Jane asked Bridget for some suggestions. And one of Bridget's friends put them on to us. And then Bridget told Jane. And then we just kind of like just do organic, like the shit that bands dream of. Like you're grinding. And just someone's like, you should work with this band. They're great. And then people be like, yeah, let's do it. So it was a really cool, like full circle moment of like, cause we try and make a point to not do sponsored stuff. We try and make a point to not, pay to play. So like just pure organic growth. They heard of us. And Jane was like, absolutely. And Jane lives in the city. So we met up, talked about the movie. Like we just hang out and just being like, yeah, this sounds right. Let's do it.
What's the process like? Like, I guess writing a song for that movie, because I'm sure it's a one-off song. What was that
Yeah.
project?
So yeah, it's a one-off song. At that point, it was kind of working with A24. So Jane was like, this is the band. And they're like, yeah, they said this whole mood board, like this is the vibe. This is what Jane wants. And there's like a whole PDF with everything, the script, color palettes, every detail you can think of. And they're like, pretty much like carte blanche, do what you want, but like, these are the parameters. So I sent them this B-side that I had written the year before, but didn't have any words on it, just the instrumental. And they're like, yep, this is the one. And I was like, okay, how is this idea? This is what I'm going for, broad strokes. And they're like, perfect, write it, sent them a demo. They loved it, sent us the budget to record it professionally. We sent it back, they mix it, they master it, done. So probably the most simple, straightforward recording process we've ever had. As long as you stay in the parameters, do what you want to do, which was really, really fun. Like we've never worked on a prompt before. So it was a cool challenge for me as like a lyricist and a writer to like, not that it's not my song and like, it's not about like something I would normally write about, but like to fulfill someone else's idea and dream, you know what I mean? So it's a really cool, like, oh man, I would like to write for other people moment, you know?
Do you find it a little bit constricting, or do you find it difficult, or do you find it?
It was difficult in a good way though. Like the challenge. Yeah, I'm definitely like the type, as like you can hear the progression of our records every time. I'm like, let me try to do something more this time. Like, so it definitely felt like a natural thing that I would do anyway, to push myself to do something that I hadn't done before. So I think when people hear it, it'll still sound like a proper song, but I think people hopefully will be pretty surprised at the sound we went for.
No, I'm fucking hyped to hear, and I'm hyped for the movie itself. So
It's good. Yeah. Yeah. Going to the New York premiere tomorrow. It's so good. I've already seen it twice and I'm still just excited to go see it again tomorrow night. It's a really good movie.
Very cool. Well, Erik, thank you so much for your time today. Looking forward to hearing a lot more from Proper in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you again for having us, y'all. Having me. Yeah.
This show is the brainchild of Black Guy Fawkes folk punk griot. You can find him on all the social medias as Black Guy Fawkes or Black Guy Fawkes Music, as well as on Bandcamp. Merch, music, and ticket sales are how independent music gets sustained, but word of mouth also helps a great deal. The intro and outro are both from the song New American Meltdown by Black Guy Fawkes, so that's legally covered because this is his podcast, and that is his song available on the album Life, Love, and the Bomb. Additional music elements provided by Ben Dumb Production Music. Check out more at bdmusicproduction.com for all your bespoke, royalty-free background music needs. Sound design and editing by Ed Coulard, who appears courtesy of his dog and many, many cats. Cover art by Jacob Matthews, a pal who has been down since day one. Finally, while Fawkes and Friends firmly believes that punk rock is and should be a safe space, we know it can't be safe for everyone without excluding bad elements. So remember.
So tell your local Nazis and your fascists to fuck off.
Did you get the Love Jones reference or no?
jeez.
Oh, the things I do to amuse me and or you.